when it's time for me to know, I'll know. And it hasn't been time for me to know yet, so I don't know. Okay? Fucking got it? Hello, and welcome to the Orphic. I'm Alyssa Sokol with Interdimensional Astrophysics. Here's Mikayla with Mariposa Moonchild. Hey.
Hello. Hey.
What's up? Welcome to episode 7.
I was like, I don't actually remember.
Oh God, I don't know. Whatever. Numbers don't matter. Oh, they
It's all
do.
a
Numbers
blur.
are pretty important, actually. But anyway, welcome. Welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's funny because I was listening to our 3rd episode and you did the same thing. You're like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, basically
So-
on it.
That was so funny when I was editing
I'm
that.
fine. And I was like, oh, Mick, yikes.
That was
like,
really
you sound
funny.
great, girl. And I was like, no, really, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I just got a little bit of a laugh about that.
No, that was pretty funny.
I'm good right now. I feel like I'm still getting into the groove of things after Christmas, and I'm very much finding my groove, and I think flow is what I want to say. I'm very much trying to find my flow and my routine and get into my practice again. So
Totally.
I've been feeling very like energetically like drained and exhausted, kind of body exhausted too. So I'm just kind of working with just like witnessing that and...
Sorry, my video was not going for some
Oh,
reason.
no, all good. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, so I'm just like working with kind of just like witnessing that instead of like trying to change it or anything and just sitting with it. I've been like, I'd say a little bit overwhelmed with just like wedding planning. Yeah, so it's been like really, really exciting, but my ADHD personality also, you know, like, I mean, picking out a venue is really important. That's the first thing you want to get done, but it's also like something that's really exciting, but I don't know if this is probably for normal people, but also ADHD. There's this thing of like, I will rest when it's done. So like, I just want to get it done. I just want to get it picked out. I just want to like get it. And then you get kind of this like nervous system reaction where you're like excited, but then your body's all like kind of tensed up. And so
I feel like probably the venue part is the most, I feel like that is the step that makes the most sense to be like, I'll sleep when it's done, because you really, that's what I was saying when you were sending me a voice memo about this earlier today. I was like, I feel this really like rushed energy around you, but I don't blame you, because there is a race to get this venue and there's people booking things, so it's not wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's like, I also know the universe is going to bring me exactly what's meant to be. So I think there's a little bit of like learning in that too, because I think like there's a couple days, like I'll wake up in the morning and it's been like all wedding planning. And then I'm just like, and by wedding planning, just like reaching out to like the venues and stuff like that. I'm also planning a wedding out in BC, not Alberta. Very different for anyone listening. You probably know, typical like Alberta, the ones that I've grown up and went to, they just we all just go to the hall, the same hall, which is fine. That's cool. Great. That's not for Bryce and I, especially because like we live out here and it's really important to us. But finding a venue out here is very different than booking the hall at home. So I've just been trying to figure out what feels right. And now it's just about trusting.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible singer.
And it's like you have to, it's a co-creative process. You know, you can trust as much as you want, and you can know that the perfect venue will come into your lap, but you still have to put out all of these feelers and you still have to send out all these things to get the one that sticks. So it's like, oh my God, especially, the amount of control.
Yeah. And that's what I've thought of too. And then I'm like, do I though? Like as soon as I just like maybe let go a little bit, is something just gonna fall in my lap? Not like we do have some contenders, but it's just like waiting for people to like get back to us and making like seeing it and making sure it feels right and budget and like, oh my God, there's so much shit to a wedding.
Yeah.
Which I'm really excited about. But I think now I'm in this place of like, balance coming back after Christmas, because you get so out of routine over Christmas, especially when you go home. It's like I meditate every day, and like didn't really meditate that much when I was at home. So it's just like coming home, grounding my energy in again, getting back to a routine, getting back to like calibrating my nervous system. And now let's like balance that with doing the exciting wedding planning things and then just other life stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. No, totally. Everyone I'm talking to is saying that they're trying to get on some routine stuff. And yeah, it's like for me, I'm moving from just focusing on one thing to now I have multiple things in my orbit that I'm working on. I have my school research, finishing up from my PhD, I'm writing a book, I need to find a job, I have to make money. And yeah, it's like it's a whole kind of time management thing, but it's for me it's in a completely different way. And because I'm not used to having multiple things on my plate that are maybe equal parts important. It's usually just been like PhD and one track mind. And now I'm like, oh, now I have multiple interests and multiple things that I'm going to devote my time to. And it's actually exciting because I'm like, ooh, this is exciting and this is new. But yeah, we're gonna do some planning, me and you, to kind of try to get some routine stuff together.
We are. And like, I
think that once you get their venue out of the way, you'll be a lot better with the wedding stuff, because then you'll be able to plan then it's not such a dire energy.
When I have a date, and then because like everything else is around your date, you can't book anything else without that. So yeah, I agree. And I think right now it's just a little bit of like trusting that it's just going to work out as it should, and we're going to be where we're supposed to be, and just a little bit of just like letting go, which I've had signs like over and over to do that, but it's like I will. And then like the next morning I wake up and it's like, okay, let's check my email. Who's emailed me back? And then I'm like, you guys haven't emailed me in a fucking week? Fuck you. And anyway.
Right. Fuck this whole thing. Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. And when you said that today, you were like, yeah, it felt like maybe a lesson in relinquishing control that you hadn't heard back from certain people. And yeah, you just gotta kind of feel it out. But I have trust that your wedding will be exactly what it's supposed to be, and I'm excited.
I do too. I'm really excited too. And like, yeah, last night I was kind of like, all right. Well, the other thing is too. Oh, she gone. The spirits have walked in the brain door. Yeah, I don't know if I've mentioned this yet on the pod, but I lose my train of thought a lot. It's like I have like a couple different either downloads or something coming in at the same time, and then it's just like my brain is like an old computer, and it just like overload, and then it just like goes blank and like shuts off, and then nothing comes through. So that'll probably happen a lot on the pod. So sorry. I think you just did this in episode 3. You were like, you lost your train of thought, and then you were like, good thing we have a podcast. I mean, whatever's meant to come through will always come back through if it's important, and it usually does. Yeah. I also feel like a lot of things about like the pause have been coming up for me, so I think maybe there's something in having these moments of pause that is trying to say something. That is like a huge topic to unpack, the pause. Yes. Because wow. Yeah. People in our society can't fucking do it. Yes, it really is. But anyways, with like the people not getting back to me and blah, 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 as much as I'm just like really frustrated and annoyed, it's not their fault. It's the universe. The universe is making this happen because there's like something for... Right, like there's something for me to either like wait for or like learn or just like you need to chill, bro. So I'm chilling, but yeah, yesterday I was just like, okay, today I'm not gonna like do any wedding planning, and I haven't. And it's just like, and part of it is just like so fun and exciting too, where it's just like, if I have extra time on my hands, I'm like, oh, let's just look at Pinterest and let's like think of things. Let's look at dresses online, because it is fun and it is really exciting. But there's a lesson for me right now in balancing that and doing it while my nervous system is actually calibrated and regulated.
That's the other thing I feel like for you right now, is that this is just causing some nervous system override. So
yes, that's exactly what it is. And then I'm getting like overstimulated, but then I'm not like properly grounding myself as well as I should be. And then it's just kind of like, and so just like a lot of energy. It's like really not that dramatic, but like even, and then my mom is really excited too. So this past weekend, she came down to stay with us. This is the only solo trip she's actually taken out from Alberta to hang out with us. And we did all wedding planning. So she's also someone who probably is at a point in her life where she just really needs to ground, but instead she's using the distraction of wedding planning, which is really fun, and she's really excited. But it was the same thing. Yeah, it was like the one day she sat down and like she was just like writing things down like frantically. So like it was all day. It was
what
just
a combination,
like that.
You two.
Yeah. Bryce was just like, he's like, all you guys do is talk in circles. He's like, I don't think you guys got anywhere in that conversation. I don't think you guys made any progress on actually where you want to go. But it's just like, but he's also just like different. Like that's sometimes just how like mother daughters, I feel like kind of talk. It's just like, oh, well, this is why I like this place. This is why I don't like this place. Okay, what about this place? And back and forth. Yeah. But anyways, that was a very busy weekend because we did the one day was all just her frantically writing things down about venues. And then we went to a bridal expo, which was a lot of fun, but I was there for like 5 hours because they get you to like, you walk in the door and they like hand you this thing, and I was not prepared for the social interaction. I don't know why, but I just like wasn't. I thought I'd like
what is a bridal expo? Because you had said that was not trying on the dresses. It was
no.
What the hell is a bridal expo?
Well, do you know like of an expo center?
Is this a Canadian thing?
I don't think so. Like, you know, like there's like expos for all different kinds of things. Oh, my light is really wonky right now, but that's okay.
The second that you say, anytime you say something that I don't know, I go, is this a Canadian thing?
Is that Canadian?
Okay, expo.
I don't think so. When I was in Istanbul, I went to
I'm seeing
expos
like a
too.
Convention center.
Convention. Yeah. I think maybe that would be
I go to science.
American
I go to science conventions.
But yeah, it's like that. So basically it's like, a big convention center. And then there's all the vendors have their different booths. So it's a whole bunch of vendors from the Okanagan, which is like around the lake where we live. So there's photographers there, cake people, dresses, just nice. Wedding planners, wedding designers, like just all different types of vendors. So it's like kind of fun and stuff. You know, you go in, you get your mimosa for $10.
That does sound fun.
And yeah, it was fun. I mean, especially if you're like planning something, it's really exciting. And I remember going to this with my cousin when I was younger. But anyways, I thought I was going to like walk around and like go to the booths that I wanted to, like, oh, this looks cool. And then I'll go up and like talk to you and be like selective and like be that girl. But you walk in and they hand you this paper of all the booths. And like, they're like, this is your passport. So you have to go, you have to go to every single one and get a stamp or get them to sign it. And then only then can you be entered in for this big draw.
So you had to go to all of them?
Yeah.
Sounds like work, man.
There was a kilt shop there.
Oh.
Do you know what those are?
Yeah.
Oh,
Scottish kilts?
Yeah.
Because like people like they get married in that, right?
Yeah. I guess so. Some people do. But so like that, I'm just using that as an example because it's just like you have to interact with all these people because a lot of the time I'm like, I don't care about what's here, but I have to get this stamp. So then it like forces me to be like, hey, how's it going?
Sounds like
give me your card. Oh yes, I'd love to have kilts for I didn't do that, but
that amount of social interaction. Wow. No wonder you're exhausted still.
Yeah. So, I mean, and a good lesson to do with that, because I got in and was really overwhelmed by like going to every booth and talking to people. And then I had a moment where I was like, okay, you need to ground. You need to ground, and you need to call in whatever you need to call in the backups to get through this day. So I took a moment where I just like hand on my heart, and I just like actually physically grounded myself like into the earth. And then I like called on my angels and guides and like kind of did a little prayer. And I was like, okay, angels and guides, help me with confidence here. Help me with being engaged. Help me be enthusiastic. Like help me like show up like in this space, and like let's put some positive energy into this. And I will say after that, I was a lot better.
Oh, nice. Good. It worked. That's great.
But and there was like a fashion show there too. They actually had some kilts at the fashion show. I'm thinking about doing kilts.
Yeah, I was gonna say, were you guys thinking about that at all, or what kind of venue did they do kilts in the hall? Do they do kilts in the woods?
I'd probably say the woods.
Sounds right.
All right, Lassie.
Are we gonna have to go to Ireland for this wedding? I would love to go to Ireland.
Sure, I would absolutely love to go to Ireland.
I want a destination wedding. I'm just letting that be known now to you. And it's going to be in New Zealand. So.
Wow.
See you there.
Okay.
I'm single. Anyway.
You're working on it with your Kundalini. It's all good.
It's all good.
Right. But yeah, so then after the expo day, we were there for 5 hours. I also had to run, and because I almost missed to put my passport in the thing. So in front of all these people, like I booked it to the front to like put my passport thing like in the little like turn thing. Because I was like, I did not do all this fucking work for my like passport to not be in there.
That would have been tragic.
Yeah. And then the next day.
And you didn't win.
No, I didn't win.
I just wanted to rub it in.
It's a sick joke anyways. So then the next, and this is lots of driving too, because I live about an hour out of the city. So like going to pick my mom late on Friday night, come back here. It's like 10 o'clock at night. Then the next day we stayed here, but wedding stuff all day. Then into the expo. So I drive in there, wedding stuff. She takes me to Costco. We come home another hour. Then the next morning, wake up. We tried on dresses. I feel like it was a little bit early to try on dresses, but I know she was really excited. And, I'm a Sagittarius, so I like to know my options. So I options. So I will not pull the trigger. I don't know if I'll ever have the moment when I like put it on and I'm like, this is like the one, because I'll probably put it on and be like, wow, this is really pretty. I really, really like this, mom. Like I really love this. What else do you have?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing to get a head start and get some inspo.
I don't think it's too early. And you could never be as bad as this one girl I saw in Say Yes to the Dress who was like, I love that show. 150 dresses. No, I saw, she was like, sorry, this is a complete aside, but it feels relevant because it is a little bit. This girl on Say Yes to the Dress, they don't even air that anymore, do they?
Yes, they do. They do. They don't.
Seen it on. I mean, my mom has TLC on 24/7 here, and I feel like I haven't seen it in a while.
Really? Because I've been wanting. I used to love it when I was younger. I wanted to be like a fashion designer. So like, I have actually books of wedding dresses that I drew when I was like 14, and I loved it. But we don't. Yes, but we don't have it anymore. But I've been thinking about like getting maybe the Discovery TLC to just like watch it, like. Anyways,
I haven't seen it on. Anyway, there was this one girl I really remember this girl. She came in and she was like, I already have 5 dresses, but I just don't know about any of them. It might have been more than that. Literally, it was something like either she had tried on a bunch of, obviously people try on a lot, but I feel like it was, she already had like multiple dresses and was just like, I just don't know about any of them. I'm like, oh my God.
Why would she pull that? Why would she buy any of them though?
I don't know.
That's weird.
It was something weird like that. Something where I was like, what's up with this girl?
It's like, how much money does that bitch have?
Hope she's okay.
Also, I don't actually think she's a bitch, guys. It's just, we're just talking.
Anyway.
Yeah, so
but
very busy.
The dresses looked very nice. And
thank you. We actually had some good contenders. I was pleasantly surprised because I don't know, I was surprised that I guess this is her job, but I don't know why. Maybe it was the TLC that set me up for that. I was surprised that she like pulled good ones.
Mm-hmm. Well, there
but
you go.
I think definitely some contenders that I think I could work with, but I'm definitely going to be looking a lot more. Even my grad dress, which I guess would probably be prom to you guys.
Oh, yeah.
I think I probably tried on like 70 dresses and I tried on, yeah.
You're crazy.
And I tried, yeah, maybe. And I like tried on my dress that I picked out like 3 times before I said yes to the dress.
You are a Sagittarius. I didn't even know
Actually,
that was a Sagittarius thing. You're like, I'm a Sagittarius, so were those
I'm a Sagittarius, so I'm a bitch.
We just turned into those astrology girls for a second. I'm a Sagittarius, so.
Well, I just always see those memes where people are just like, I don't care what your astrology is. I don't care that you're a Scorpio and that means that you're a bitch. That's not how it works.
Well, yeah.
Scorpios can be a little bitchy though. I do have a Scorpio rising, so yeah, if everyone out there that thinks that I come off as a Scorpio, yes. No, I'm not saying I'm a bitch, but it's the darker,
is your hair black or dark
energy.
Brown?
Dark brown.
Really? I can't.
Yeah, it's pretty dark though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, I don't think it's that crazy. Okay. Like even when I was looking for my grad dress, it would be like, I wanted to know like the different styles and stuff. So I'd see something. I'm like, oh, this is kind of pretty. So like there were some places we went to where I was just like, I tried on and look in the mirror and like off. No, like on, off. Like, and I just wouldn't even come out of the dressing room, but I just wanted to like, know, I guess. Actually, I didn't actually count. So maybe 70 is a little bit generous.
Wowzer. Well, I love that for you.
did. Yeah, I love it for me too. Anywho. And then yeah, so why I thought of my mom, because even like right now, she just like sent me a message. It's like shared a product. So now she's been on the Facebook marketplace and like thrifting hunt for all of our stuff. So
okay.
We did that too after dresses. We went thrifting because there's some things that I want to get that I want to thrift.
Yeah. Totally.
For like my ideas. But yeah,
Yes.
I'm curious. I wonder what she sent me. I'm gonna look because why not? Oh, she sent me some milk glass vases.
Oh. Okay.
It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for $1,600. So I'm really hoping that that's not the real price.
For like flowers?
Yeah, like do you know what milk glass vases are?
Like, yes.
I'll show you.
Here, wait, I can Google it.
Like those like vintage, like
I don't think I've ever. Oh, nope. I don't think I've ever heard that terminology. And I mean, when I see them, I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely have never heard that terminology for those. I didn't know that those had a name.
Well, they're that white glass is like milk glass.
Oh, I see.
And it's like very like vintagey, and they kind of have little. Anyways, thought these would be cool. They're actually pretty hard to find though.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Anywho.
Okay. Well,
how are you?
Me? Anyway, I'm good. I'm mainly, I actually had a big milestone, which was submitting, again, this paper for publication. That's part of my thesis. It's the first half of my thesis. And it will probably be published in the next few weeks. So it'll probably be published by like at some point during February.
Yeah, that's so exciting.
It's exciting for me because, so this is now after my Adderall episode has been out. This project has been the thorn in my side for a while. It's crazy now that I was texting my cousin about this yesterday. I was like, this one thing, I can't believe it's actually about to come to completion, when it was just that scary monster in my head for so long. And actually even this process too was contributing to it being a scary thing that I just, it was just one of those things where you just build it up in your head so much. But I mean, I talked about all of why that was happening on that addiction episode, but I had just built it up so much. And I also thought that what's crazy too is that I thought that this process of going through the referee and getting feedback, and I thought it was going to be like nails on a chalkboard. I thought it was going to be torturous. It ended up being one of the smoothest processes that has ever happened. Basically, the process to submit, I just said process like a million times. The process to submit a paper for publication, it's you submit it and then you get an anonymous.
The journey, like on The Bachelor.
Yeah, exactly. You submit it and it gets assigned an anonymous referee that is another astronomer in the field, and they give feedback and they suggest edits that you have to do, usually 1 or 2 round of edits before it can be approved for publication. I had a very positive, extremely minor comments, really just like figures, like a few other things, some clarification things, extremely minor comments. My advisor said it was the most positive referee report he's ever seen.
Wow.
Good job, me.
Yes,
and,
wow.
Because so many blood, sweat, and tears went into that paper over years. Yeah. And literally, it's a huge deal for me. And also, it's kind of crazy because this is, the other thing is this is basically, I believe right now, is like my 1 year without Adderall. So it is an extremely full circle moment. And
definitely.
It's funny too because I was reflecting, obviously doing a lot of reflecting on this whole year and this whole journey, and it's just so incredible that I'm capable now of doing work and doing things and feeling like I can function, and knowing that I can if I need to. And I'm just like anyone, it's still just like, I have to do things, or like, I don't want to do this, but I've built the tools within myself to know how to now. Over the last few months, from like September to December, I was building the tools and I was learning how to function again and do things. And now I like can when I need to, and it's really wild still for me. But
it is wild.
What I was reflecting on was how much I had no idea that this process was going to be like this. Like in the beginning of when I stopped, I completely thought, and I talked about it in that episode. I was like, oh, it'll take me like a few days, and then I'll just be good, and then I'll just be able to do work again. And little did I know what was going to ensue for like 8 to 9 months. But so it's just funny because this was actually still supposed to be like at the time that I stopped, which this. I only had very minor. I was supposed to submit it to the journal in like January, February 2022. So I was supposed to submit it a year ago, and it ended up taking extra time. But it's like crazy that it ended up being at the same time of the year. And so it was just funny being like, oh, silly me. I totally thought that it was going to all be so much easier than it was, but that was my lesson to learn, and I'm just feeling a lot of relief that I got myself out of that situation. And so I'm really happy that this paper is going to be published soon. And also, I'm in the process of looking for a job, and so I'll share where I'm at currently because I actually have a really exciting potential connection forming right now. There's this foundation, or I'm not even 100% sure what it is. It's called the Resonance Science Foundation, or Resonance Science Group Academy. It's I believe it's at least a team of researchers. This guy, I've been following them on Instagram for a few years. It's led by this physicist Nassim Haramein. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his last name. I followed him for a few years. I believe I stumbled upon him when in 2020, when I was waking up and I was learning all these new things about consciousness, and I believe I probably stumbled upon him in a YouTube video. And I believe he's also self-taught. I don't think he's a PhD or like a professor or anything. But he's a physicist, and he talks all about, he wants to form a unified theory. So he has a course called like unified physics or something. Just all same things that I'm trying to do, just form a unified theory. How does the whole universe work, incorporating consciousness and souls and everything. And so I believe they have a team of researchers like on their website. I didn't even know 100%. I'm just kind of shooting blanks here. Is that the phrase? I don't know. I know that it's like at least some established thing that they are trying to blend science and consciousness. And they didn't even, on their website, it wasn't even like, apply for a job here, like work with us, join here. I filled out a contact form, and even on their contact form, they offer courses. That's the other thing. They also have a membership, I believe. So they offer courses. I think they have a team of researchers that maybe like are making courses for them too. And so on the contact form, it wasn't even an option. Like they had a drop down menu of what your message was going to be about. None of them were like, apply to work for us or something. I was just shooting like into the dark. I was like, so I filled it out. It's like, hi, I just got my PhD. I am interested in spirituality and consciousness and astrophysics. I let me know if you think my skills. I said something too about, as you can imagine, like traditional academia. This is not necessarily suited for traditional academia. Although I don't think whatever they do is not super far, because they have, at least on their website, they have stuff about publications. They have recent publications that people in their group have done. So there's some very like legitimate, still like scientific process to them. And yeah, so I sent it. I had no idea what I was going to get back. They responded, and the person said, the person wanted me to send my LinkedIn, and so I sent them my website and my resume. And then again, they were like, and then they responded again and asked me to send my dissertation. Have fun reading that thing. All 200 pages.
Wow.
So she asked to send my dissertation. And so I sent my dissertation, and I sent the PDF of my dissertation presentation, which is all of that in a little bit more of a palatable form with all the pictures taken out, all the pictures up front. So, and she said that after she looks at that, they're going to set up a Zoom with me and Nassim, who is the head of this whole thing. And this is a pretty legit like company. They have the Resonant Science on Instagram has like 300,000 followers. Nassim on Instagram has 200,000 followers. There's definitely a following to this thing.
Yeah.
And so they have scientists on their team, and I don't think they have astrophysicists. They have other physicists and other biologists, and maybe people studying history and the pyramids and stuff like that. I don't know if they have the kind of astronomer that I am on their team. So yeah, so I'm kind of just in that mode. I'm excited that they seem to be excited about me.
Yeah.
I have no idea where any of this is leading. I don't even know what kind of like financial support they have or could have for me, but it doesn't matter, because at this point in my life, I'm just completely just whatever comes my way, or I'm putting out feelers. Jesus, take the wheel. I'm putting out feelers. I'm following the yellow brick road, and obviously this is an aligned company to my interests.
Yeah.
So, and also I really trust and believe that I feel like I was dealing with this too when I was in the process of potentially getting that other job over the summer. Like this idea of, what if I'm going down the wrong path or something, or like, what if I'm not supposed to have this job? And if you're not supposed to have the job, then you won't have the job. And that's exactly what happened. I didn't get the job. And so but there's this aspect of control where I'm like, oh, but what if I'm experiencing it right now too, even though this is obviously a completely aligned connection. And even if I don't end up working for them, it's good to have, this is another person leading in the science consciousness world right now. So it's good to have that connection. But there's still a part of me that's like, what if this is not the job I'm meant to have? Like, what if this is not what I'm supposed to have? But the universe will course correct you if that's the case. And either way, going through the motions is going to be part of the process. So I'm still kind of trying to relinquish control in that sense, and really just not put any attachments to anything. Because I don't think I've talked about that much on here, like job stuff post PhD. I haven't really talked about that on the podcast. But yeah, I'm just like, open to whatever. And I really have such a nothing answer that it really freaks people out, because people are like, well, what do you think? Like teaching, or just because the way that I think is I know that there's some position that's meant for me to have in this time. And I have no idea if it's going to be a professor. I have no idea if it's going to be completely something separate, but the other thing that I am very open to is it being something that doesn't exist yet. Like some position that doesn't exist yet and me creating it. So that's why it's like you have to deal with people in this world, but people ask questions, are like, oh, well, what do you think? Well, what do you do? And they try to put you in a box and in boxes and boxes.
People love to ask about work. That's what I've noticed. It's like before people ever ask you how you're doing, how blah, 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 always. Like I noticed that going home over the holidays. It's how's work going? And I'm just like maybe it's not a bad thing. Like people are just trying to talk, but I'm just like, fuck, why do we only care about work in this like so productive, true. Like all we value is productiveness in this society. It feels like. True.
And people can't, this is what I've learned from, obviously I've had to field a lot of questions since I finished the PhD. What's next? Yeah. People can't fucking handle it when you just have no idea and you're just riding the waves of the universe. Yeah. It breaks their brain. They don't know what to say. Because I'll literally be like, I really don't know. Like, I'm just gonna, and they're like, oh, but do you think this, or you're leaning to this?
And I was like, what do you mean you don't know? And you're like, I don't know.
I don't know, because the answer has not been revealed to me yet. So when it's time for me to know, I'll know. And it hasn't been time for me to know yet. So I don't know. Okay. Fucking got it.
Yeah. But no, I think that is really exciting for you and a potentially really cool opportunity.
Yeah. And it's like, even if it's not something full time, just to potentially have some connection there, or at least one other thing. I know that on their website they have these different courses, like I mentioned, but it seems like their scientists there's like a different course for each of the people that work there. So this is just, I have no idea until I have the Zoom meeting what they would potentially, but one thought now, I'm like, well, maybe I could design a course for their website or something, and for their membership, like maybe that could be one way that they would want me. But in terms of like my employment and what I have had this feeling, because I really have no idea what the hell I'm going to be doing or how I'm going to be technically making my money until this podcast blows the fuck up. So share it, bitches. I have had this feeling that, because I know that I'm going to be basically researching on my own this intersection of astrophysics and consciousness and the spirituality. And so I have kind of thought, like, what if my job is being paid to do that? Like, what if, either through this or something else, or just someone kind of investing in seeing potential in me, and just kind of through some grant or, so something like that is like, what if is my job? So that has been a thing that I can't tell. And one of those things, obviously, I question it. I'm like, is that me? Is that just an idea? Or is that my intuition telling me what's coming up? So it's kind of one of those things. I'm like, I don't know if that's just me thinking that's possible, which as I'm saying this out loud, it's like, bitch, trust yourself. So yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm actually, I'm in an exciting time. This is really truly the first anything that I've put myself out there for jobs or anything since the PhD, and it's exciting not knowing where any of it's going to lead.
Definitely. That's the best place to go best place to be is not knowing.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm so cool with it, and which is good. It's so weird. I guess I have a lot of control issues in other parts of life, but I guess, truly I am okay with it. Well, I also say that as I sit comfortably living at home off of my parents. So listen, there's definitely some privilege going on here. There's a lot of I'm very fortunate to be in the position I'm in. Thanks, Mom and Dad. So there's that.
Thanks,
too.
Thanks, Irma and Jerry.
Yeah, you got it.
Is that
nice.
it?
Yes.
Thanks, Irma and Jerry. Hey, Ma. Sorry, I'm just laughing at that because the one day Bryce came home from work and you're on the podcast and you're like, hey, Ma. Hey, Ma. It's just funny. You're like, Ma, quiet down. And then Bryce and I were just doing like the New York, like, hey, Ma.
We're a very New York family.
Yeah, which is so weird to me because like New York, it's not real. It just like exists in movies.
That's so funny that that's your New York perspective all the way from Canada. But makes sense.
How? Oh, how do you feel about Canada?
All I know is what I can see from the part of the map that has the US with just above the border. It doesn't go up beyond that, right?
Have you been to Canada? Like, have you been to even like Toronto? Because like New York is pretty close to like Niagara Falls.
I went to Toronto with my ex.
Toronto. With who?
My
Your
ex.
Yes. Oh.
I went to Toronto and Niagara Falls with my ex. And that was the only time I went to Canada. Yes.
Yeah.
Only time in Canada.
It's really not that different just crossing the border.
Yeah, Toronto is just pretty normal. But yeah, that's all I've been to.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the Ascension.
Yeah, let's talk about Ascension. Let's talk about that's so funny. I was going to say, let's talk about the 3 A's. Ascension, Awakening, New Earth. Then I'm like, that's not 3 A's.
Well, it was a valiant effort. All right, we're going to talk about the ascension of the planet today. And yeah, we're kind of just going to go back and forth. It's not going to be super, super structured, but there's definitely a lot of things that I want to say about like the astrophysics of it, but I feel like we should kind of start off with I think it's so interesting how we even came to be aware of this information or came to like really resonate with this. So we had mentioned, when we say ascension, something's going on with the planet. We mentioned this in the first episode.
Yeah. And I think we should dive into a little bit more of like what that means. Like what is ascension? I also feel like I don't necessarily have the answer for this.
Right. No, we don't. We're just going to talk about what we know, how we came to learn it, and what we want to know.
What it means to us, I guess.
Yeah. Right. And it's when I say the ascension, there's a very significant cycle. Something is going on with the planet. And I mentioned this in the first episode, but it's raising in frequency. Take a look around, like what's going on the planet, right? Most people can tell things have been very different in the last few years. And there's also a lot of astrological things, a lot of huge astrological returns and all these things going on astrologically. But like, first off, I feel like a lot of this, or how we came to come into this information, has to do with like our awakening and the next level of our awakening that we both reached in 2020. And the beginning of COVID marked a really important, I also believe that there was a big astrological shift in 2020, or maybe specifically March 2020. I have to look into this. It's sometimes
there would have to be with COVID. There for sure is.
Yeah, there would have to be. And I feel like sometimes all of my astrology knowledge or any big shift I see it on Instagram posts and just in one ear and out the other. I just forget about the specific ones. But yeah, definitely something happened with COVID, and so I would say I really woke up in 2020. And what
does that mean? Wait, like that you woke up?
Yeah. So that would be coming to a new level of awareness of the way that the world works, the way our reality works.
This is interesting because I'm curious of exactly where this is going to take us and how much of this we're going to want to get into today.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, fair enough. I think you know what I mean by that.
Yeah. Yeah. So so I would say, okay,
Waking up 2020.
2020, it was crazy. A lot of things happened. A lot of people changed their perspective on the way that things operate.
I feel like a lot of people not even changed perspective, but more came into an awareness.
And in that time when I was seeking a lot of answers, or just really kind of grew into my spirituality, I was hearing this stuff about kind of about the Great Awakening, or actually it kind of also it's relevant here to mention the whole like 2012 end of the world thing, because this is actually really relevant.
Yep.
Everyone said the world was going to end in 2012. It was the end times. And then 2020 comes and everything gets completely rattled and nothing is the same anymore. And a lot of people started going inward, and people like me and you found a lot of really what I learned was just from the internet and from YouTube, and because this is how these things travel. I mean, just like we're speaking into the internet right now for people to find, people might hear this and then all of a sudden resonate with it and have this claircognizance. So claircognizance is technically a psychic sense, but it is knowing. So it is when you hear information and instantly, okay, well, that's not
inner
exactly
knowing.
It's when you just have a knowing. So it's not necessarily, so you can just have a knowing that comes out of nowhere, or you can maybe hear something or hear someone say something and all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's true. Like, I don't know why it's true. I just know that, yeah, that makes sense. And that was how it was with both of us in terms of learning things about how the planet is changing, and we're in the midst of a huge shift, and also stuff too, like we've talked in the previous podcasts about aliens and other lifetimes and different aliens and stuff. Things that we hear would normally, maybe to someone that is not ready to hear it in the moment, would sound crazy, but to someone else that is meant to hear it in the moment would all of a sudden just be like, oh yeah, that's right. And or that's right for me. I don't necessarily know why it's right, but I just know that it is. And I feel like that's how a lot of this stuff has progressed in both of our minds.
And
right?
I feel like leading up to that point, we had already been kind of doing some spiritual development that was kind of preparing us for that moment. And I feel like I overuse the word spiritual also, but I feel like because there's lack of like a better term to use.
You know, that's weird that you say that. I was thinking about that the other day, the word spiritual. I was like, is that a weird word to get attached to or to use?
Yeah, because
it's like you don't want to get too boxed into identities. I'm like, I'm spiritual, and it's like I don't like that extreme identity put on me. But at the same time, there isn't a better word. I don't know if there's a better word for it other than like connected to all that is, or just aware of.
Yeah, connected is good.
Aware of what exists.
Connected is also good.
Beyond physical, anything beyond physical, maybe.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, leading up to this point, I would almost pin myself as having 2 awakening moments. We'd been developing like our spirituality or our sense of connectedness or whatever. And I think that's really important to note, because with that, we're developing our clarity and discernment too, because some of the things that we might get into having this conversation, and it might be this episode and it's probably going to be other ones down the line, is like conspiracy theories and stuff like that. So we yes, we would see teachers or people or things on the internet that we had this knowing and that resonated with us. I feel like I'm just like also trying to be careful because I feel like this is a vibration game, because I feel like there's also people that are in a lot of fear, maybe not connected. And I'm not saying I'm the perfect connected spiritual person, because I'm not. That comes in waves too. But maybe is a lot of fear, disconnected, and then there's also those types of people that are grabbing on to anything they see on the internet and are believing absolutely anything and everything they see. So I think what I'm just trying to say is using discernment when finding out what, like, when navigating what actually resonates with like your inner knowing and your heart is really, really important for this kind of stuff.
Right, exactly. And that is huge theme of like 2020 and 2021, and how is it 2023 already? Oh god,
I don't know. How's 2019 4 years ago?
It's like the epitome of those memes. It's like it's 2023 and I'm still processing 2019. I'm still processing 2019.
Yeah, so am I. I feel like 2019 was like just like last year. Like 2019 was just like how the 90s were like just like 10 years ago, and we're like all kind of stuck in that. And it's funny because it's still a 9.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god, I know. So I feel like this has been a huge theme, and I think it's gonna be a theme to continue. It's like everyone, this whole thing of, we'll just go there for a second, misinformation, things like fake news or whatever, the censorship. People are trying to control the information when the truth is, what we should be doing is we should be able to look at everything that exists and see what resonates. And people don't like that idea because they think that there should just be one or the other. But it's like, maybe things are black and white in the physical world, but once you get into the spiritual world, or once you get into things that are beyond physical, things that you can't necessarily see, or things like people's character, or things that you need to have an intuition about, that's when you have to hear information, and then you need to just see how it sits with you and everything, and see what resonates. And so then I guess, then just taking that up a notch from what's going on in the physical world, there's all this stuff that we were kind of taking in 2020 and 2021 about the spiritual shift that's going on, and the astrological shift too. And the same thing too with astrology stuff, like take what resonates and leave what doesn't. And this, I'm surprised we haven't really said that yet.
Anything we say, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Please do. I am not here to influence or tell anyone that this is how it is. We're very much just like figuring it out like everyone else. But and anyone who tells you this is how it is and I'm right, I would be a little bit wary of them. So with any of our episodes, anything we say, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Use your discernment. Practice using that.
Right, exactly. And you have to have discernment over everything. And it's so true. Anyone that tries to make you weary of discernment, or tries to just completely buy into your trust instantly, that's not okay. It's skeptical. It's the best teacher is,
that's a cult.
That's a cult.
That's how cults start.
The best teacher directs you back to you and says, don't believe just everything I say, and that goes with us. Question everything that we say. Like, don't believe it. Believe some of it and don't believe other parts of it. It's completely fine.
Yeah. And I think, so we're going through this shift where people as a collective are beginning to use their intuition more, so they have this discernment. Because the problem is a lot of people are so disconnected and fearful that they don't have this discernment. So it's definitely a practice to work on your intuition, to have this discernment, to feel into what resonates with you and what doesn't. And that's the exact shift that's like happening on the earth right now, because the earth is like, we're just kind of starting this shift in a really, I don't want to use the words dark, But in general,
it was 100%
like,
dark. There's a lot of darkness on this planet.
There's a lot. Like, I mean, like, look at capitalism. Look at like we're very privileged to live in the countries that we do, but like most of like the world is starving. Like, it just like, and
there's
then
a lot of darkness and a lot of things that people aren't even aware about yet. There's extreme darkness on this planet.
Yeah, there is. And there's a lot of fear that kind of keeps people in this place where they're either told they can't trust themselves or they don't trust themselves. And because they don't trust themselves, they don't trust anyone else. But we're shifting out of that, but it's going to take, it might get worse before it gets better. Mm-hmm. And it's going to take a little bit of working on that, like that intuition and that discernment.
So I feel called to mention here that the Earth put out a call for volunteers. I feel called to mention the volunteers.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay.
This could be a long episode.
I don't want it to be too long.
That's okay. We can split it up if it is.
Yeah. They're okay.
Sorry, I'm laughing with you.
No, I'm trying to go back to like the ascension of the planet and the huge shift that we're going in and all the things that led us to have this knowingness that when we heard about this, we were like, oh yeah, because it's not just a claircognizance, it's a remembrance too. It's a remembrance that our souls volunteered to come and have an incarnation at this extremely special astrological time, at this extremely special time for the solar system
to assist
in general.
The planet in its ascension.
Yeah, to assist and bring in light and anchor in these ideas before the majority. You know, we're not the first ones to have these ideas. No. We're not the first ones to talk about this, but be part of a wave of people that are talking about these things that nobody else is really talking about yet. And hearing people on, I guess, primarily YouTube and Instagram. I guess there was some there have been
channelers. They're channelers.
Channelers. People that have been connected to higher realms and have been bringing in this information for a while have been saying this. And this is a good time to mention Dolores Cannon has books about this, and she talks about the waves of volunteers. So definitely, if this sounds like interesting to you, look up Dolores Cannon if you have not heard of her before. And they put out, Earth put out a call. The soul of Earth, Mother Gaia, put out a call to assist. For people to assist to raise the frequency, or help raise the frequency. Yes. And so when I heard that, it was a remembrance, and that's a lot of what happens with these first wave of people that are getting into this information.
Well, that's why it resonates, because somewhere in your soul, you know this information, and it is just a remembrance. Because that's the other thing. This is the beautiful thing about being human. You get amnesia when you're born. We aren't born with like all of our memories of our past lives, as in if you're born another being, you might have that, or born in a different like time, space,
there
dimension,
are other
whatever.
Planets and places that people are incarnate and they actually remember all their past lives. Earth is not one of them.
No, Earth is not one of them. So Earth is a dicey place. It's known throughout the universe that this is a place of great polarity, and it can be a place of a lot of suffering too, just because of the human experience is really unique in a lot of different ways. Mm-hmm. What were you saying before that? Because I felt like I had something to say to it.
So we have the call for volunteers. So our souls incarnated in saying, okay, we'll go help, and we'll help raise the vibration. And because, I was going to say that there's already a shift going on. It's not just the people people are helping because this all has to go back. This all has to do with the electromagnetic fields, and it's very physical. It's extremely physical what's happening because we're anchoring in higher frequencies into the planet, and we have to ground them in. They move through our body and down into the earth physically. And there's something, so there's like a raising of the frequency of the planet that's going on. And I wanted to get into a bit of the astrophysics of it, or kind of what I know so far, or what I've heard. Was there anything you wanted to mention about the...
Yeah, so I feel like the soul of Mother Gaia is just like, it's shifting. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before. And
I totally just remembered something else.
Yeah, so like I feel like if you're a soul, you can be a very, very old soul, but a lot of us come from one main soul family, and then it like kind of like fractals out. So there can be these baby souls. So when there's living things like plants and fungi and little like animals, and I've talked about this before, and then some, like, your soul goes through these different like evolutionary periods over time, where like your soul just evolves over just like lessons and experiences and whatever. So that's also what, and it's also evolving through the different dimensions. So I think I've talked about this before. If you're a rat, and this is not to say that any of this is below us, because like we're all connected, but like on a soul level, like as an example, maybe like you're a rat, or like fungi, I guess I'll use like rat, like you're kind of in this like 2D dimension where very like survival.
Your lessons are different.
Your lessons are different, where we're not working with as much emotion yet, or like emotion as far as like empathy, or like being able to relate to others. And so moving through that. So this is where, if you've heard the term of like 3D before, or 5D, these are the different densities that our souls can move through, that our souls can exist in, as well. And so Mother Gaia has her own, Mother Gaia has her own soul, and she's shifting and she's moving. So right now she's moving into a higher density. So she's moving from 3D into 5D. So very physically, just that of her moving is like causing this like energetic like shift on the planet. But there's a lot of since the beings on the planet, there's a lot of this like darkness, there's a lot of resistance. So we're in this place of, she's shifting, we're here to like help the shift, but there's a lot of resistance, there's a lot of darkness, there's like the polarity still. And the result right now is a lot of chaos, a lot of crumbling of systems. We're seeing that happen. Like, it is very rapturous kind of feeling. Like, we've seen it with COVID. We're seeing what's happening in Iran with the women. We're seeing what's happening around the world. Even like how our systems here, like we're seeing how inflation is going up. How we've seen the fuck the police movement that happened was, yeah. Like, we're seeing all of this stuff where it's just like things are not the same as they were in like 2019, even if maybe the COVID restrictions aren't as like crazy and stuff, but we can all feel it. Things are not the same. It's different. Like, yeah.
Right. And another aspect of that is like, yeah, everyone can agree that time is different too. And yes, it is. Everything is not the same. And I think that if people haven't really noticed then it's just an inability to admit it, is what I believe.
Well, it's also it's a lack of awareness, and I think it's actually something, because I think your DNA gets unlocked within your body to like open up these different types of densities and remembrances and even like abilities, but sometimes you're not there yet. And like I can't hate on that either, because there's a point where I wasn't there yet, and if I heard myself talking now, I'd probably think that I was fucking nuts. And
same.
I probably do sound like that to some people, and I guess that's just something that I have to be okay with. Like again, like take what resonates and leave what doesn't.
Right, exactly. There's no judgment, because truthfully, we're all just here like playing characters in a video game. You know, we're all just here. We're all just here playing different roles, and some of us were contracted to come into this knowing earlier than others, and that's when your alarm clock goes. It's kind of it's preset by your destiny in a way. And
I mean, and there definitely is those who have that like lack of awareness, and it's kind of just like it's completely different wavelengths. Like you're vibrating at different wavelengths, and so it's dissonance. It's cognitive dissonance. Like you're not going to be able to have a conversation and explain how either like one is thinking and be able to understand, because the person that hasn't unlocked that awareness yet, and like that's okay, that's literally their process and their journey for their soul's evolution to not have that awareness unlocked yet, but they just don't yet have like the capacity to understand some of this stuff, which isn't a bad thing. So but
we're pausing for a second.
Newt's so cute. He's just like sitting in the same spot he has been for hours, but he's just like on the couch curled up with his head on the pillow, and he just looks like he's kind of sitting like a person. It's funny.
He's so cute.
And he's just like such a freeloader.
There's been so many memes lately about like people like seeing their dogs sigh, and they're like, what the fuck are you have to worry about? I feel like I've seen like a million memes like that lately.
Bryce and I are like that all the time, and I always after I feel so bad because like we're obviously joking that, but then I'm just like, oh, we're just like the resentful parents. It's probably with inflation. You're just like you're fucking nothing around here. Like honestly though, like I love Newt, but like the audacity, like he will just walk right by me and he won't even help with the dishes or like load the dishwasher. Ever. I don't think I've seen him do it once.
Not once.
No.
He won't even offer.
No.
Oh
no.
It's so
like
funny. Okay, so
we gotta leave that in there.
Yeah, we do. That was good. We're definitely leaving that in there. So, all right. So what were we just talking about? We were talking about
Ascension and lack of the people.
Oh yeah, the people that aren't.
I think you had a point to that too, and I kind of maybe cut you off and was talking about it.
Let me just think what else I wanted to say.
I think also the people, like the ones that kind of lack the awareness right now, like that's part of the process, but that's kind of like the resistance that's like coming in as the planet's like trying to shift and trying to evolve.
I want to talk about that, kind of what you said at some point, like even you're surprised if 4 years ago you would be surprised at what you're talking about now. And that's 100% true for me as well. I was not always this far into these ideas, or, I had some vague spirituality in like 2018 and 2019, but there was a complete fucking shift that happened in 2020. And it's even still wild to me. And that's just how much I know. The fact that I'm just in this life now fully, and the fact that we've just been fully in this life and in these new belief systems that I didn't necessarily have, or in these new ideas that I didn't necessarily have like 4 years ago, and the fact that it just all feels so right, and we kind of just stepped into it and we can't really go back. makes me just know that, oh, I was always meant to come into this information, or this was always the point that I was meant to be, and this is always the stuff I was meant to be talking about, and it's just your light switch turned on. And it's just
literally. And it doesn't turn on until it's meant to either. Like, because and that is the exact thing. It's like, sure, like there was a point where we had the DNA unlocking moment, or it resonated, and those were some really like moments, but I could have still heard that same thing maybe when I was 16. It would have been like, whatever. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, totally. If I had heard that stuff in like 2018, even 2019, I would have been extremely confused. And I don't think I would have resonated with it, because you're not supposed to resonate with it until you do. And the other thing is how you can't go back from it. And that's the process of the spiritual awakening. Once you see, you can't unsee. Once you know what you know, you can't unknow it, and you just are in this new stage of life with these new knowings and trying to make sense of them. And also, though, what's turning inside of you is the need to make sense of them, and you want to understand, and you want to go into that remembrance. And the part of the other reason that this is all happening is that the sun is giving us a lot more solar flares. We're getting a lot more energy from the sun. But I just wanted to touch on for a second the concept of light and dark. And part of the reason that so much darkness is being revealed in the earth plane right now, a lot of people, I'll just say, for one, the sex trafficking stuff, a few years ago, Jeffrey Epstein. We'll just use that one as an example, since that was fully brought to trial and everything.
Well, that was a huge part of my awakening, and I think you would agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Huge.
And part of what's happening is that when more light is on the planet, it literally breaks up the dark. And it's literally like opening up a curtain. So when more light, it's like things are hiding behind, say the darkness is hiding behind the curtain. The light is going to open the curtain so that all that was not seen before is seen.
Well, also, the light casts a shadow.
Yeah, right. There's so many different ways you can think of this. The light casts a shadow. Yeah, is one aspect, and then there's like the light, and so when it does, right, so when it casts a shadow, it's revealing this darkness was revealed. And so that's what happened in 2020. We hit the frequency of the planet. The only reason the whole thing of COVID was able to happen, and all of this corruption is being revealed now, is because the planet hit a certain frequency. It had been raising, I believe, something like the Schumann resonance. The Schumann resonance is a measurement of the frequency of the earth. It's like the heartbeat of the earth. And I believe that it has been increasing measurably since like 2012 or early, or maybe, since like 2012 or something, maybe even earlier than that, 2007. And I
mean, it's been slowly increasing over a certain amount of time, and then lately there's just been this big boom, wow, like it's really been intensely increasing. And part of this light that's coming, part of the increasing, is also all of the volunteer souls that are coming here right now. So these are the star seeds, these are the indigo children, the rainbow children, these are the empaths. Even like, if you feel like you resonate with the things that we're saying, or you even resonate as much as like being an empath and being super sensitive and like really taking on other people's energies and stuff like that. Oh my God, why does that happen to me? It literally just like
it's all right. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I know. It's like, it's just like they're just trying to tell me something else to like go with that. But if you fuck, I don't know.
I was gonna comment about how that frequency is raised. It's raised from more people speaking their truth online. It's the truth gets out, and when people start to stand in their power, and when they tell the truth, or when they speak their mind and their ideas to their family members, and it spreads like a wildfire. And it happens on the internet. And part of the reason that the internet is a thing right now, it's really, this technology is assisting in the awakening. It's assisting in everything that's going on, because these people speak their messages, and their soul family, their soul audience finds them, and instantly it's like, oh my God, I was meant to find this information. I needed this. And that's how, in this age, in this what's going on, this stuff is spreading, and that's how the light is being seeded, and that's what's anchoring more light onto the planet. The more people that kind of reach this different state of awareness, and then it's like, well, what are you gonna do with that? Are you going to? It's also this level of it's ascending from duality. It's ascending from this binary of the they versus them and anyone versus each other into that idea of unity, and back to this centered point where you're
Definitely.
you're not judging. You're not on this side. You're not on this side. You're floating above it all, observing it all, and you're non-judgmental. And when you're able to see above it, you're able to live that way, and live from not needing to be so quick to polarize, because what doesn't really matter what side of the coin you're on, if you're contributing to this separation, to this pulling apart, if you're so strongly on one side or another. And it's not to say that there isn't, the right side is always pure intentions. I feel like that's the core of it. Like, what are your intentions? You have pure intentions. It doesn't matter if you have believed one thing, or if you feel like you've been polarized. You can move past that into this space of living from the heart, if you really have pure intentions for other people and for the world.
Well, it's also just this like soul remembrance of what unity is or was, because it existed. There's a time it existed on Earth a long time ago, and it also exists in higher densities. Like, we're talking 5D, we're getting up into 7D, 8D. It like where the angels live, where some of these higher dimensional beings live. Where a lot of the volunteer souls, that's where they lived, and then they came to Earth. They have this coded in their DNA, this remembrance of the unity, but it's just unlocking that to remember it. And then it's just this big moment of, wow, holy shit, we can live like this. Like, peace on Earth can exist. We can get there. Is it going to happen tomorrow? Probably not, but it is something that we can work towards, and we can get towards. And what I was trying to say before is, like, you empathic souls, which pretty much everyone that follows me is an empath, because that's kind of the stuff that I teach around and the starseed souls, if you know what that is. You are here. You are probably if you are probably one of those souls. You are one of those souls that came here to volunteer. And these souls, like, we usually tend to have more challenging life, like, processes or things to go through, because we've given ourselves curriculum to learn lessons for our soul's evolvement, so we can shift the frequency of the earth. And then these souls that are these volunteers souls, these star seeds, we come to Earth to learn this curriculum, to stand in our highest truth, to like expand our frequency and to continue shifting the frequency. So we shift the frequency of the earth by like learning our lessons and then standing in our highest truth and following our intuition and doing what we're meant to do. And we're seeing this. How much are we seeing that people are becoming their own entrepreneurs and their own bosses, and they're following their heart and doing what they want? We've seen a huge increase in that since COVID. And I mean, yes, that's because a lot of us had to go home. We couldn't work our 9-to-5s anymore. And there was like a perspective shift, but like we're seeing that so much more, where people are like, no, I'm going to trust myself and follow my heart, and I'm going to pursue this. And like, it's just going to keep happening more and more. And this is exactly what these volunteer souls, probably you as a starseed or an empath, have come to Earth to do. And you're also probably thinking like, how can I shift the frequency of the planet? Like, how can I be a part of that? And it's living in your truth.
Right. Yeah, it's
And that's a practice.
It's not pointing the finger. It is, yeah, it's living in your truth. And I think to speaking it and really being able to kind of come at it from this, I personally feel like the biggest theme in the collective in terms of what is maybe more 3D than 5D is this energy of blame and this energy of like looking for others to fix things.
Victim mentality.
The victim mentality, and also just kind of thinking that thinking that the change is outside of you, and then thinking that if you think that, then you're ignoring problems or just kind of stuff like that. But
yeah, I mean, and living in your truth is like a practice. It's figuring out what that practice is to you. But for anyone that's kind of dipping their toes in this and is like, I'm not really sure I completely trust myself, but this like resonates, I would just even sit with like the journal prompt of what is my truth and just write whatever comes from that. And then you might even kind of start to see what you actually desire in life versus what are we doing for others' expectations. So that's what living in your truth is following your heart, following your journey, and without the expectations or judgments of others. Because like I feel like that's so common. Like we really grow up in this world where it's like you grow up, you go to school, you go to college, you get a job, you get married, you get the house, you have the baby. Not that you can't do that, but it's this very like structured thing. And it's even how we were talking about earlier, how people, their first thing they'll ask you about is, oh, how's work going? And it's always like, it's like this expectation that's all put on us from like a very young age of what we should be doing or how we should look or how we should talk or how we should act. That's always like influencing us. And then that doesn't always align with our actual truth. So then it's like coming back to finding that place of what our truth actually is and who we are. And then having the courage to act on that, to act through that, to speak through that. And then through that, you watch your internal vibration shift, your reality shift, and you're helping the planet because it's a ripple effect.
Yeah. And
it's contagious.
And also with that, it's following what lights you up is a huge part of living your truth and speaking your truth. And it can even just be little and okay, I guess I'll just share my personal experience with this too. I'm in the process still of unpacking what lights me up and kind of where that's leading me to.
Same.
For example, I'm so into, right now I'm really into makeup and like glitter and sparkles, and I'm just like loving like sparkly stuff on my eyes, and I'm really into like opal. Opal's like my favorite stone. I'm obsessed with opal. I've been obsessed with it for so long, and I'm obsessed with like this iridescent, like these white opalescent colors and iridescent things. And I know that that's for a reason. I really think that there's like an Easter egg there for me. I think there's something for me to follow.
For color, something with color, color healing.
Yeah, like, or yeah, right, like color or just anything. I've kind of also had downloads kind of about like shine and sparkle and just that effect of when you just see like these different things. I guess it would just be like sparkles moving, and there's the point is there might be something deeper to things that light you up than you think. They could be leading somewhere, and there's a lot of things in my life that you have to pay attention to the things that light you up because they are connected to your purpose. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm trying to unpack. And also, like, for me, crystals, like, I don't know, your average starseed spiritual person likes crystals. I feel like I like crystals more than the average person.
You do love crystals.
I love crystals so much. And just the things that make you happy, I think that there could totally be something more to it other than like, oh, this is just a hobby. Like, I don't know, meditate on it, sit on that. There's so much more that I want to know about why I'm so, because it's, you can't deny when something completely lights up your soul and you're like, oh, you know, whatever those things are, you can't deny that. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's something bigger to it. So wanted to mention that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so we're going to split this episode about Ascension up into 2. So this is the end of part 1 of Ascension. So next week we'll have Ascension part 2. We get into some more of the stuff about the astrophysics and the magnetic fields of the Ascension, and just some more interesting things about Ascension. So tune in for next week for Ascension part 2.
Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, please like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at the Orphic Podcast. Follow Alyssa on interdimensional.astrophysics. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I forget where the dot is. And then follow me, Mikayla, at Mariposa Moonchild on Instagram. And also don't forget, guys, that I'm doing readings, past life regressions, Reiki, energy healings, and I'm taking on one-on-one coaching clients right now. And that is for sure my favorite thing to do. I'm going to be moving into more of that. So if you are interested in, while I'm kind of building my program, doing some like one-on-one ongoing coaching with me, then for sure, please reach out.
Definitely. All right.
Yeah. And and then on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, please rate and review.
Yes. All right. That's all for this week. Thank you for being here. Bye.